This is Late Night Health. This is the radio show that cares about the most important part of your life, your health. During the next 2 hours, the insane Daryl Wayne and I are going to cover a variety of topics and issues that I believe touch each and every one of us. We're going to start in just a few moments, and we're going to talk about Gay Pride Month. None of the participants in this are gay, but we want to be inclusive. We'll be talking about gay sexual health for men in our second hour with a urologist. And the idea is to share information that I think everybody should know. Hi, I'm Mark Alyn. Welcome to Late Night Health. Be sure to join us at latenighthealth.com, latenighthealth.com. Let me give you a brief rundown of some other people we'll be talking to. We'll be talking to a guy who's created a cosmetic company that is not only sustainable, but the packaging is in Braille, okay? We'll be talking, of course, with Robert Clancy from the Mindset Reset TV show. Dr. Mike Smith is going to join us from Life Extension. He's the spokesperson and director of education for Life Extension. We're going to find out if there's anything natural we can do to prevent shingles. There's an epidemic of shingles, especially in those who are 55, 60 plus, and this is not a fun disease. We'll talk about that, and we'll wrap up today's show talking with Amy Summers. Amy is somebody I've known for years. She's a publicist and marketing specialist, and we're going to be talking about Amy's flash briefing, the pitch, as she talks about voice technology and the growth of audio programming. All that and much more on this edition of Late Night Health. It is my pleasure to introduce a new friend. He's been on the show a couple of times. I blew it the first time. I said, let's get together. I didn't do it, but we finally did get together. Daniel A. Miller, he goes by Danny. He's the author of The Gifts of Acceptance, Embracing People and Things as They Are. He's a best-selling author also of Losing Control, Finding Serenity. Danny, welcome.
Thank you, Mark. It's great to be here and great to be getting to know you better.
Yeah, you too. And Danny is going to be joining us throughout the hours of the show and visiting with us. Danny and I had the pleasure of going to an event together on Saturday night. It was an event in downtown Los Angeles, and I would say it was an all-inclusive event. I mean,
it certainly was.
Right? There were Jewish people. There were Muslim people. There were black people. I'm sure that there were gay people. Just all kinds of people at the Pico Union Project. And it was, what a wonderful experience.
It was fantastic for my wife and I. It's almost synchronistic because the Pico Union Project is so much about acceptance, but they're implementing it. That's what's so great, in their neighborhood with some of the things they're doing, planting trees, providing food. It was really inspiring to me.
Yeah, it was. It was as it was to me. I can't wait to go back and go to another event there. Let's talk about gay pride.
Okay.
Let's talk about accepting gays. Personal question comes to mind. Does it matter to you what anybody is? I mean, if they're gay or from Mars or whatever?
Doesn't to me, although I guess it does still to a lot of people. But I'm reminded of, I guess, Bob Dylan's song, Times Are A-Changin', and when we look back over the last 40 or 50 years, times are a-changin', I think in a positive way in the gay communities.
Well, I think that's why your book is so important, because it teaches that if you accept, you get something back. I mean, that's the crux. You don't have to read the book anymore, folks. That's the crux of the book.
That's right. That's what I like to say. Acceptance is a reciprocal gift. We are giving to others in the sense that They can trust us more and thereby maybe open up to us and connect with us better when we're accepting them instead of sort of pushing them away or trying to manipulate or control them. And what I've learned in my life and what I write about is we also receive so many gifts from our accepting people and things as they are. A big one being serenity and ultimately, I think, our health. Because when we're accepting, we're not controlling, and when we're not controlling, we're not dealing with so much stress and anxiety. We're sort of acknowledging there are quite a few things that we are powerless over changing. So why not consider accepting those things and then focusing on what we can do in our own lives?
As we talk about, the LGBTQ audience, lesbians and gays and transgenders.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had friends from all walks of life, and it doesn't matter to me. As I've said that several times now. What's interesting to me is that everybody, and it doesn't matter what they all have a gift to give back to their friends.
Right. So why can't we receive those gifts? And I think, with acceptance, and I particularly on this subject, on Gay Pride Month, one of the biggest obstacles of acceptance is our own fear. Or what might happen to us if we're accepting, how we might be harmed somehow by the other person.
We might become gay.
Maybe even that. But or how are we going to handle it? How are we going to deal with it? Or it just so many different things that can come up in our minds, and they're all fear and anxiety based. So if we can just sort of focus on the fears and diffusing them, and I like to say most fears, especially emotional fears, are illusory. They really aren't real when we sit back and examine it. If we can get into a neutral mindset to do that.
This is Late Night Health. I'm Mark Alyn, along with the insane Daryl Wayne. Our guest and our co-host for today is Danny Miller. He's the author of The Gifts of Acceptance, Embracing People and Things as They Are. And we're sneaking this in because it just made sense to me with Gay Pride Month.
And it sounded in the beginning like Danny was sort of weaving in and out of the Serenity Prayer too. As an alcoholic, that's the first time I heard the word serenity and acceptance and words like that. Definitely
so, Daryl. Definitely so, and that's why I write a lot about the Serenity Prayer, and I try to live it. What I do, the first thing I'm out of bed is on my knees saying the Serenity Prayer as a guide for me for acceptance that day. And it's a beautiful prayer. It's very poetic. What's really been helpful to me, Daryl, is when I can get very specific with it. In other words, what things am I going to be doing that day that maybe I need to try to accept? And then what things do I need to have more courage to try to change? And then what, can I have that wisdom or discover the wisdom to know the difference? But I find when I work the prayer within the context of the issues I'm dealing with, that's when it really accomplishes the most for me.
No question about it. How many of us have spent time trying to change the things that we can't and got frustrated by it?
Every day.
Every day. That was my first book on letting go of control, losing control, finding serenity. I was a master controller,
How long did it take you to drop that?
I'm still working on it. It's a lot less. I don't think we ever let go of control totally, nor do I think we need to. But my journey began over 20 years ago, when I hit a roadblock with just major setbacks where I got to the point where I couldn't keep resisting or fighting, and I had to surrender. And then that's when I first got this inkling of, when I let go, it allows things to happen. It's sort of like a life flow. And then as I kept exploring it, and even with my current book, is is by letting go and letting I refer them as life's natural currents. If I can then intuitively engage those when it feels right. And so that's the challenge, but I think that's the key to ultimately having a life with greater serenity and less havoc, so to speak.
And with more serenity, I suppose you have a happier life.
Well, it's kept me sober for 33 years, so yeah, absolutely.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
And
no question
and
about
you're one of millions. So
that is, and Daryl and I talk about that, frequently. Being an alcoholic and letting people know, I think is a tremendous step.
Well, that's courageous.
It is.
I mean, it is courageous, and it's a sign, I believe, of, as they say in the program, being comfortable in our own skin.
Our guest is Danny Miller, the author of The Gifts of Acceptance. We'll have a link to Danny's website as well as more information about Danny at Late Night Health. He's going to be here during the entire 2 hours of this week's show. He'll be joining us in our conversations with all of our guests. Be sure to join us at latenighthealth.com and facebook.com/Late Night Health Radio. We are celebrating Gay Pride Month on Late Night Health, okay? Accept everybody for what they are. We're all people. We're all friends. We'll be back. Don't go away. More coming up.
Welcome to Guide to the Soul. This is Robert Clancy. Hope is one of those words that has no synonyms. It just simply is, and it's something that you'll have in your life as long as you want it. You can only lose hope when you choose to let go of it. So why let go? Each day of your life is a blank canvas, and you will always have a choice on how you paint it. It takes courage to take a journey of hope, but it's up to you to take that first step. And it's always accomplished by taking one step at a time. Hope is the greatest beacon you have to help you find your way out of the shadows of darkness, back to the light of a new day.
For more inspiration from Robert Clancy, visit guidetothesoul.com or go to the Moments with Robert page on latenighthealth.com. There's a lot of talk all over the internet about the remarkable benefits of Carbon-60, and baby boomers are especially excited about it. Greska's Carbon-60 is the premium Carbon-60, developed by an aerospace and NASA scientist. 95% of Greska's customers report positive results from this Nobel Prize-winning technology in just 4 days. Imagine more energy, better health, and more vitality. It's very bioavailable to quickly mend toxin-crippled cells. This is a super powerful antioxidant. Bob Greska is so confident that you'll love his Carbon-60, he wants to send you a bottle at 50% off the regular price to see how life-changing this will be for you. Call 720-600-6040. That's 720-600-6040. Visit c-60.com to learn more. Call 720-600-6040 now or visit c-60.com.